guys.
Crowded.
Hi, Kim.
Hello. People everywhere. Hello.
So Sky will kick us off. 3 questions per organisation, please.
Kim, good to see you.
Same.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago today, you apprehended what you thought was or your staff apprehended what you thought was a Southampton spy here at the training ground. Fast forward 14 days, it's been a roller coaster journey for you. You now take their place in the final. How are you feeling?
A lot of emotions. It's been, like you said, a crazy time. It's been back and forth, a lot of different emotions from losing the game to everything being involved, to trying to keep your head in the game for what may happen, and it's been a lot of emotions, and I'm very happy to be here.
We saw the emotions pouring out of you after the second leg, and your players as well. And after the first leg, you claimed that Southampton had cheated. When you see the punishment now, do you think it's fair? Do you feel vindicated?
I think punishment for me is not to decide, and I was never talking about punishment when I talked about it either. I talked about my emotions, and I think that's football, that's emotions, and that's what I tried to be since I arrived here. Try to be honest, try to be open, not using the not comment or not being like that. I'm just trying to be open with my emotions. It was never about anything else than that, and I think you can look at it again. That's what I talked about from my point of view. So I have nothing to do with the decision or punishment or what is right or wrong. I just talked about my emotions through the situation.
I think the biggest question over the last sort of week or so is about your players is how are they mentally, because I think it'd be understandable if they kind of almost start thinking about their summer holidays last week, and now many of them are going to play in what is arguably the biggest game of their careers. Where are they mentally ahead of it?
Very difficult to know, to be fair. I think after that emotion you have after the Southampton game away from home and all those things that come with that, and during that time it was very, very tough, and like you can see on a lot of the players, and then it's been like just back and forth where we tried to keep them here, but it's been impossible to train. We said we had a meeting with them here on Monday after the weekend to try to just see where we're at, but it's been very, very difficult, and of course from yesterday when it's 100% clear, we could start trying to get to go and try to focus on the game that we're going to play. That is, like you said, the biggest for most of the players, and of course for the coaches. Thank you.
Kim, you are obviously going to Wembley, which should be such a proud and exciting moment for you, the players and the fans. Has this whole saga taken any of the gloss off that?
For me personally, or for the team, I would say no. I think we it's a special one because it's been so many ups and downs with feelings and emotion so I think the head is tired. It's also for me been a very, very long season. I started competing in February last year. It's been moving on from that day to today with the 2 weeks break I think I had in the summer there. So it's been a very long season. I think that's for everyone. You play 46 games in the championship, and you play 2 tough playoff game that was, to be fair, very close to each other, 2 good teams going against each other. So it's been a lot of emotions in that, and now of course trying to go into, now you try to prepare it. So I think today was the day where I start to feel that is a competition game again. It's been very, very difficult before today, but now today we start to prepare Hull, we start to look at Hull, and we start to talk about Hull and preparing the game. So I think we have to build it in that way up to the game in a different way that you would have done if you would been ready from after the semi-final. So it's a tricky one, and it's a weird one, but I'm still again very proud, and also how we handle all those things has been. I think we as a club and as the team, as the players, there were no excuses after the game in terms of that. They were strong, they were standing up, they were fighting. So I'm very proud that we have handled the situation.
You spoke about the range of emotions that you've been on. There's have you felt any sympathy towards Southampton through all of this? They continue to say that they feel the punishment was disproportionate.
I don't like it. It's weird. It's Southampton is a big organization with so many things that involve that. Of course, I feel a lot of sympathy for supporters paying tickets, having booked, having think they're going to go to Wembley, massive. And for those, massive for some players that was not involved and tried. There's a lot of sympathy for different things. There's a lot of sympathy for our fans. It's for Hull supporters in terms of not knowing when to play the game. It's been a lot of sympathy for different things, and that is what this situation is about. It's been weird for a lot of different teams and supporters and backs and down. That is not fair to them, but it also comes from the decision they have made. So yeah, that I have a lot of sympathy for a lot of different people. That's been a weird 2 weeks for a lot of people that has to do different things to try to solve it.
It might be too soon to ask this question, but given what's unfolded, has it made you think about privacy around the training ground, how you might want to protect your team and your tactics a little bit more because it's such an open site?
Of course, you have to. The sad thing is you have to look for that. I think like you said, I think as a coach, you expect the days before a home game. I know a lot of people talking about going out to Europe and playing all those things, but that's a different. That is a different story. You. I think this is where we in football, and I think that's the decision that is made, that there should be a respect around these things, and it should not be something you have to do to try to hide and try to be secret with absolutely everything all the time. I think it's a lot about respect in that way, and that's why the rules is there, and that's why it should not be a question about if you can see in or not. It should be a question what is right to do. But maybe we have to look for that. Thank you.
Kim, in many ways, you're the person who's got to sort of drive the car through all of this. I don't know if you've heard the English expression, how do you get your head around it all? But when you take everything into consideration, everything that's happened over the last 2 weeks, how do you get your head around it?
No, I had to. It's been difficult, to be fair. And when the weekend, I had to do something because we were just waiting for things and trying to put belief into people, and he couldn't go in to try to prepare a game or whatever. It was like that. So I took my son to Sweden. That was very nice. That was very nice for me. Drinking beer, watching a game, shouting at the referee from the stands. That's. I think that gets like also perspective of it and give me some time with my son and think about something different. And then of course it's been from that moment coming home, it's been a lot of information about what may happen or what could happen, and then of course following that. So to be fair, it's been a weird weeks, and I don't know if I'm told to get my head around, but I'm trying. I'm doing everything I can to prepare my team for the game.
Unique short time scale. How proud are you of all the efforts that the club and the supporters are making to give you the best possible support you can have at Wembley?
I think that's unbelievable. And that's also one question that was important for us, because I think it's a lot about, from our club again, respect to Hull, for example. They have a lot of supporters that booked the Saturday. I think it's a lot of respect to football in general, English football, that this is the day we should play the game on. For us, it is of course not optimal saying a lot of tickets, haven't trained for a week since the last Southampton game. We've been in one day, but if that would be our training, we've been big problems. That was how we trained. So but it was important to try to stand up for those things and try to make it possible. And everyone around the club has done absolutely brilliant. The supporters, I know they would run to the game if that is possible, and they will find solutions to get there. So I'm just proud of everyone, and we try to be, like I said, and I saw those things where we try to keep the fair in the game and all those things to play on the Saturday and make that work.
Adam?
Hi, Kim. Just to build off one of your answers to Katie around your feelings towards Southampton, the boy that was caught spying, he's just an intern. What were your feelings about him being put in that position in the first?
That's a decision that has made for someone else, and everything is not clear with the what do you call so every information haven't got to anyone. And we probably know maybe more than someone else. So when that get forward, I think everyone will see and will understand why.
After the first leg, you described that first half as one of the best, most dominant halves you've ever seen. I feel like most of us will agree with that. What did you actually say to the players before the game? Was it an easy speech or a hard speech to give?
Before the
first leg?
No, it was more about I think everything. We felt the love from everyone. The reception when we arrived at the stadium was unbelievable. The energy from the fans, the energy from the players, and how they performed over a long time just give us a lot of energy to go in and try to win the game, and that's what we did and put up again. I think. Over the two legs, I think if you look at most of the statistics things over the two legs, over 2 times 90 minutes, we were creating more chances, we were conceding less, we had more opportunities, more big chances, but over the extra time, I think they were better and stronger than us, and also the second game they had a better second half. But I'm very proud that we played over those two legs, and I think we did a lot of good things, and it was down to very, very small margins. So over those two games, I'm very proud how we played, how we acted, how we were strong in defeat and respectful to everyone. So I think that was very, 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 very impressive.
And now you've got the chance to go to Wembley. Is it somewhere you've ever been before? And how do you feel about the chance to match?
No, I haven't been there before. Of course, watch games from the television, but it's a different thing. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, it was today I started to feel like when we started working to watch the game and work with the preparation and the time we have to try to prepare as much as possible, you start to feel that it's going to be a game and it's going to be fun to go there. Thank you.
Daz, just before Daz goes, are we all right now to move on? I think we've answered plenty of questions about Southampton's disregard for rules. I don't know about you, but we're looking forward to going to Wembley on Saturday. Correct?
Yeah.
So if we can have a look and look forward to the weekend game, if that's all right. Daz?
Kim, a couple of weeks ago, to run up before the semi-finals, we interviewed a lady called Susan on the radio, and she said, in her 42 years supporting Boro, she's never felt as close to this club. How proud are you of the way that you've conducted yourself, but also the club have conducted themselves in the build-up to those semi-finals? Not what's happened after, but to get to this point in the season.
No, but I think that's what we try to do, and to build that relationship, you also need to try to be as open as possible. And when you're open and trying to be that, there will always be people that think you do the wrong things or say the wrong things or think that there is a weakness in being open, but I don't believe in that, and I'm trying to be as open as possible. I'll try to make them involved in how we act and how we play, and try to take pride in that and try to involve everyone in it. So I think that's what we've done good. The teams, the players, the supporters, everyone that works with the club, and I am very, very proud that we handle the situations and we've been strong in those moments that hasn't been good for us, when we lost games, or tough moments when we lost in last minutes or whatever it's been, and we always try to be strong and act in the right way, and I think that's what makes it impressive.
And the squad, how's the squad looking for this game? Obviously, we heard the devastating news about Tommy Conway. How's the rest of the squad looking? And the big question, Hayden Hackney, will he be fit?
He's training today, and then again, to be fair, it's very weird when we've been off so long and not training for so long time. We have to see what happened today and what happened tomorrow and what's happened from that. But Hayden is fit, absolutely.
And the rest of the squad, have you got any more concerns?
I have a lot of concerns after not training in 9 or 10 days, and they coming back from this, and with all the heads they've been onto it, and so it is. But it is what it is, and it's nothing to go with. We just have to. There is a game on Saturday, and we'll try to do everything we can to play it, and that's what it is. And we have 2 days to prepare, and we're gonna prepare, and we're gonna go. Yeah.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, you said we talked about your dreams, and obviously getting to the Premier League is a big dream of yours. But you said you were having more nightmares than dreams, particularly about your hair falling out. Have those dreams got any better, Kim?
I don't sleep. I haven't slept for 1.5 weeks, I think. So it's there are no dreams. So we're just into it's been head around all the time, and hopefully I get a good night's sleep today, and then I will tell you about the dreams tomorrow.
All the very best.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Kim, after the first leg, after the 0-0 draw, I asked you whether you were feeling Premier League ready. You said you hadn't really thought about it at all, to be honest. How do you feel now?
Oh, I haven't spent many thoughts of that either, to be fair, from now on. But I think it's like I think it's difficult to be Premier League ready. You have to go there, and then you have to be it. It's like being a father. Maybe I felt that would be a big problem, but when you become a father, you are ready, and that's what I think you have to do with the Premier League in the same way. You going up against the best teams in the world, the best players in the world, if you get there, and unbelievable stadiums and players and qualities. So you just have to make sure you're ready when you get there and enjoy that one. So that's what we will do if we will go through. And that's, of course, what we will try to do on Saturday.
And obviously you'll have a lot to say in the dressing room before the match, but how much time will you give to the local lads like Hayden, like Dale, to speak about how much this means?
I think I think you could see on the games against Southampton how much it means to everyone, and how tough it was, and how happy it was in different parts of before and after the game. So I think everyone knows and everyone feels how big it is and how important it is, and there will be a lot of ones to contribute to that, but we know.
Damien?
Kim, at the risk of annoying Josie,
oh, that's good. Please do. Please do. Please do.
a lot of Middlesbrough fans have spoken about the support they've had from Steve Gibson over the years. How big has he been in this fight for justice, and how much does he deserve the reward that could be the end of it?
He's been absolutely brilliant since the first day I arrived here. Or, to be fair, first day I met him, because that was some days before. He's been absolutely brilliant to me. Very, very supportive in tougher times and in good times. He's been absolutely brilliant, and it's been brilliant.
Well, you couldn't have had a much more eventful season.
No.
But it could end in a very special way for you.
Yeah, that sums it up quite well, to be fair. It's been it's been up and downs and a roller coaster, and a welcome to England that's been special. So they told me I have some chapters in my book about this year to write later on. So yeah.
And just finally, Hull finished 7 points below you. What kind of test are you expecting from Hull and the form they've come into it?
Yeah, no, very good side, coming with a strong win against Norwich in the last game home to get here. Then 2 strong performances against Millwall in different ways, one in different shapes and different strategies. To be say, they are a flexible team. They have a lot of good players. They can do different things. So good squad. So yeah, I'm just looking for a tough challenge. And they have absolutely some top quality players all over the pitch that has good quality. So I think it will be a good football game, and I'm looking forward to play against them.
Scott?
I'll bore you by talking about Hayden again. How tough a call is that going to be? Because he's not played for a long time now, and obviously we all know what he offers. We all know how big he could be in this game, and yet a not quite fully fit Hayden Hackney is not going to be able to give you what you necessarily need. How tough a call is that going to be?
No, as tough as he can be, of course, in with a lot of other things. And you need to look at the whole picture in terms of who can play, who is ready, who does fit the tactics we want to use, and how do we put the players we can use into the best tactic to the game, and how do we think Hull is going to attack the game when they are very good in doing it in different ways. So it's a lot of thinking and thoughts about those 2 days that now comes up to the game, and try to find the best way with a lot of different things, and Hayden is of course included in that puzzle.
And when you talk about the players, and the mindset they're in and everything. Can you just give us a little bit of an insight into what your dealings with them have actually been in this last kind of week or so? How much have you seen of them? What meetings have you had with them? What have you talked to them about? How's that worked?
No, I can give it. The game was Tuesday. We fly home on Wednesday. We went here on Thursday just to gather everyone, and then we were off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were gonna train Monday and Tuesday, but on Monday we come in, didn't know what would happen. They were given the plan that if something happened, we will text you and then you can go on the vacation, but you need to be ready to come in here on Monday. And they were coming in on Monday. Some of the players were going out and doing some passing drill. Most of them didn't, to be fair, half and half maybe. Tuesday we were gonna have a training, but it haven't given us any good things. It was just about, now we collected them, we talked about it, we'll give you information as quick as possible, and then they go home. And then we said we'll gather everyone on Wednesday afternoon, and then when we had the first verdict, do you say verdict? Is that the right word? We talked about it and what may happen. We know there was appeal, so it was more about trying to get the head around how it could be with like tickets and for families and all those things, and try to sort those things out. So it was just lightly session jog and that stuff. And then after the verdict today, we started training and showed Hull and talked about Hull and trying to go into the tactics about the game.
And yet, for all of that, when you're on that bus with them, travelling to Wembley, it'll still feel like a Wembley final, won't it? For everything that's gone on.
It is a Wembley final, isn't it? Where am I going? Hey.
What I mean is, footballers are pretty resilient, aren't they? You know, they can get their heads around this, that for all the talk of it, once you're there, it's there for them. You know, they'll know what they're there for.
Absolutely, and we are doing everything we can to win the game. That's 100%. There's nothing other in my mind, and we think, like we said, we've been in an unfair situation in terms of that with what's happened, and we fight through it in a respective way, I think, and we have tried now to do everything we can to get ready for Saturday, because that's what people and fans wanted about this game, to play on the Saturday, to not make it more difficult. And then we try to do everything we can to get it on Saturday. So for us, we go in there, we're going to try to win. We will put all the energy into it, and it will be an unbelievable time. And I'm really looking forward to it.
CJ?
Hey Kim, you've detailed there the week since the Southampton second leg and you know the rest of there's been again. You said obviously you probably ideally have wanted a bit more training time with them, but given how kind of tired they look, particularly in that second leg as the game went on, do you think that rest could have been, you know, could be important as well for them?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, absolutely, it could go in different ways with all the different things. It's been a long. It's the thing. It's been a long rest, but it's also been very tough for us. That also depends how you are as a person. If some of the players, I think, worked very, very hard with their head around all those things that happen, which means that could be a massive tiredness. Some of the people maybe doesn't think about it at all. They just, so it also depends on how you are as a person, as a player, and how this week has been to you. And we can just guess. We can just try to go from it, and that's what we have to do. But of course, there could also be benefit from being a bit fresher than we were after those two intensive games and the extra time. Absolutely.
And obviously, we know Tommy's going to be out of this game, and also not just this game, but then the World Cup as well, which is a massive blow for him. How is he? And with this game in mind, how, you know, are you going to have to change anything in terms of the plan to cope with the loss of such an important player?
Yeah, we change every game all the time, offensive, defensive. So that's what we do, and that's what we have to do again. We lost one player that's been regular starter for us. That's been, to be fair, I think one of our best players. The last 5-6 games has been absolutely unbelievable. Has that running quality from the left and been doing so many good things. So it's I feel for him. He's been fantastic to me, to the team, to the supporters, and how he fights for this one. So he will travel with us and do everything he can from and supporting the lads. But yeah.
Just like you spoke a little bit about Steve Gibson and how much of a support he's been, and things that previous managers have said about Steve is in particular, which you touched on there, in more difficult runs, that's when Steve can be really helpful to get behind you. Have you felt like there were like ups and downs, obviously during the season, over Christmas, that run after Coventry? Were there the times that you really did feel Steve's support?
Absolutely, but I felt it from the first day and from the first meeting that is the type of man he is. It's been brilliant. But you can feel that from the first meeting that is the type of man he is, and yeah, it's been a good time.
Martin?
Will this be the most emotional game of football you've ever been involved in?
Oh, how can I know that before the game? It's been some emotional games, to be fair, lately. But it would be. I don't know. To be fair, it's just like I can just guess going out there, and I cannot say I've been close. I played some big games in was Derby in Sweden. We had 50,000 in the stands. But again, as a Swedish boy coming to coach at Wembley, that is a massive thing, and yeah, I have a better answer after the game.
With everything that's coming in this game, the emotion of the supporters, that roller coaster you've been on, how do you keep a lid on that and try and focus on the game, or do you feed into that emotion?
No, that's a good thing. I think for us now it's been to turn it out a little bit, because it's been so much about it. It's so much in their head. So we try to like turn and go up again in terms of intensity and with the football, because there's been so much things about other things, which means it's been very, very difficult. And that's the honest thing. Today was the first day I felt like there's a game to play. It's been impossible to do it before, and you start to get that competition nerve in your body again. I think the same for the players. So it's just to try to build up and go with the ride, and then I have to try to do everything I can, and it's very difficult to decide everything before you have to do it. You have to be in the ride and try to find out what's the best way to when to turn and when to in that ride, and going forward to the game now, and try to manage it in the best way I do. And I don't think it's a book that tells you exactly how to do. You just have to go with it.
Where were you when the verdict came out that Southampton had been expelled? Where were you, and what was your initial reaction?
I was with my family eating at down here dinner with Lee and his family. So it's a very nice dinner, and now my feeling was that I was very happy, of course, with the verdict. I think it's, from all the information we have been given, I think it was a very, very easy call, so but you never know if people is going to do doing one thing and doing the right thing is maybe you can know it, but you also have to do it. So yeah, it was a good moment.
Was that the first time you thought, I've got a game to
to be fair, it was difficult to know. I don't know what to, and also very difficult for me to know all the evidence that before in terms of that, and exactly what they had, and how they're going to rule about that. It was very, very difficult. So that was the first time I felt like you always have hopes and you always think about it, and you have what you think is right, but that doesn't mean 3 other people is going to think that's the right way, whatever the evidence is, or whatever the rules is, or that. So you have to be honest about, and that's, yeah, we see what happened. And then, of course, when the verdict come, you starting to believe that there is a game to play on Saturday, and yeah. Thank you.
Gals, you got anything?
Hi, Kim. This has been the 6th time Middlesbrough have been at Wembley, lost all 5 previous occasions. A lot of elder fans think it's a cursed ground for the club. Do you believe in past omens, or are you just concentrating on making history with football, on rewriting history? This.
To be fair, I didn't know that statistic. So
cheers, girls.
So now you destroyed everything.
Oh.
So yeah, no, yeah, we will go there. We will try to win the game, and that's what we're doing.
And you said you enjoyed it being last weekend. I imagine no matter what on Saturday, you'll probably be enjoying another one.
I was, to be fair, more than one beer in Stockholm, to be fair. Was so, what was the question?
No matter what on Saturday, you'll probably be enjoying another one or two, given everything that's happened.
I think I would like a lot of people told me like to try. It's a difficult thing in football. You try always to think of the next game, what you can do better, how we can work, how we can find tactics, small movements, all those things. So that you sometimes forget to try to understand how big this is and how to enjoy the moment. So I will try to enjoy it at least 1 minute before the kickoff and try to take it in and then we see how many beers there are after the game.
Last one, will you be wearing a tracksuit or a suit?
Tracksuit? What is tracksuit?
On the Touchline tracksuit.
Oh, tracksuit, sorry. Oh, I understand. Oh, no, I would look very stiff in a suit. I cannot have that one. So I will see where we go with that. Thank you.
Michael?
You've not been to Wembley. Will you go and train at Wembley on tomorrow, or will you just go to see it and experience?
We cannot train, but we can go and experience. So we have a tour. So when we go in there, we're going to go and experience it to tomorrow. Yeah.
Rob, have you got anything?
Yeah, the performance against Southampton in the first half, in the semi-final first leg, was probably the most dominant I've seen of your Boro since Hull City away. Can we draw anything from that? We were 4-0 up at half-time, weren't we?
Now that 4-0 is better than 0-0, I can say that. So it's a different game. It's a final with everything that comes with it, and we will see what happens. We're just looking forward to play it, and it's a very good side, well coached, very good side.
And in that game, you unearthed a secret weapon in Alex Gilbert, if you recall. Have you got any other secrets that you could obviously for Wembley?
I have secrets all the time, so that's the thing. You have to try to put players in the situation that suits us in the best way. And I think, to be fair, there's some of the players that played in all the different positions and how they move, depending on what we want out of the game and how we want to find the principle that we want to have and how we want to be the team we want to be. That means you have to switch and move depending on what suits the players you have and what the opposition is. So there will be new things, as always.
And everything that's happened in the last few weeks and all the things we've done together as a club and a town and everything that we shall be, can that inspire us to get back to the Premier League?
I think everyone is very, very inspired about the game, about everything, about Premier League, about the possibility, about the game against all those things. So I think there's a lot of energy and inspiring to this. So absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks.
Who did you go and see in Sweden? Who did you go and watch last weekend?
Hammarby, yeah.
Did win?
4-1.
Oh, there you go then.
Very good day.
Thank you. Good
Thank you.
Cheers.